Welcome from Las Vegas, Nevada, the host city of NAB 2014. We're here on the 45th floor of the Trump International Hotel. This is Cinema5D on the couch, presented by B&H, the professionals source, Vitec Videocom, Tools on Air, and Zeiss.
Welcome to the second episode of Cinema5D on the couch. Today we have some distinguished guests, other bloggers that you might know. That's Joe Marine and Ryan Koo from NoFilmSchool, and Philip Broom from Philip Broom
Broom.com.
from Philip Broom.
Is this your casting couch?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God, what is casting couch?
So NAB 2014 has started. We have been swept with tons of new cameras today. Really, literally, how many did we count? I think I lost count at 5.
Too many. That's not many to count.
I think 5.
You're not get to 10 yet.
Well, I'm only talking about the large sensor ones. So yeah. We have new cameras, 2 new cameras from Blackmagic Design, like
3.
every year.
Isn't it 3?
Yes.
It's 2.
Is it 3?
It's 3.
It's 2.
It's like 4 and then 1. So they've got the one that's 4 different cameras in one.
That's confusing. 4 in 1.
And we got the
Like Russian
A7s.
dolls.
Yeah.
The A7s by Sony, which is their 4K version of the A7R, small mirrorless camera. And then we have the AJA camera, the Cion. And then we have, what else do we have? Panasonic Varicam.
Right.
That's already been announced though, hasn't it?
Well, it's been announced as a mock-up last
I
year.
saw the one that was, you know, you can take off the head unit, and that's the same one, isn't it?
Is it? No, I don't think it.
They slightly redesigned it, I think.
I saw it on NoFilmSchool.
Yeah, we posted about the new one.
Don't believe what you read.
Yeah, but I saw
Pictures, yeah.
No, I saw something about.
Yeah,
I saw something about with the removal.
Yes.
Yeah, back
yes.
to it.
And I think the last of the large sensor new cameras is a JVC, right? JVC announced 3 new cameras with a larger sensor. Yeah.
Really? What, Super 35?
Yep.
I haven't had a chance to see it.
Which they usually don't. I feel like
That's
they're usually
pretty impressive because they've always been 3rd inch.
Yeah.
Right.
And they had that crazy 4K which
Well,
recorded on 4 SDs.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And they had the one thing that they only were releasing in Japan.
Right.
The camera they announced a while ago that was only a Japan camera, I think, right?
Well, I saw something today that nobody, I think, blogged about yet, or I didn't see it yet, is a little brain with a very small unit with a, I think it's a Super 35mm sensor and a Micro Four Thirds mount with a cable going to a separate
Super 35
recorder.
with Micro Four Thirds.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I asked the guy and he couldn't explain it to me.
They made a bit of a screw up there.
It's not covering the
Not
sensor.
promising.
Yeah, but anyway, they claim it's perfect for
aerial
stuff. So they want you to put it in a drone or something because it's a really small unit.
It's tiny, is it?
It's tiny with a cable. It's 5-meter cable. You can have an optional 20-meter cable to a recorder unit, which is like this big. It's like with a screen on top.
You've seen Atomos is a little recorder, which they're saying is great for putting on quad and octocopters and stuff. I know. I think the only safe one of those is like those big transmitter things that DJI do, so it beams it back. That's much safer because it's going to crash. I crash every time I take off.
Yeah, you've gotten into flying drones recently.
Well, drones. Can't call them drones because they'll arrest you. You call them, it's a toy. You say it's a toy, and you'll be fine. Look at the quadcopter and multi-rotor, the official term. It's been so much fun.
Drone is a scary word.
It is
a little scary.
Yeah.
It is. It's like gonna target and drop a bomb.
Yeah.
Not that.
Or well, if you're
I haven't done one of those
similar.
yet. Did that come out yet? No.
So yeah, let's talk about the DJI Phantom 2 Plus.
Vision
Right?
Plus.
Vision
I've been
Plus.
trying that for the past couple of weeks.
Is it good?
Yeah, I mean, what's good? I've only been flying briefly since February, so not much. And the first one I had was the original Vision, and it's built-in camera, and it's controlled via. You still got the same controller, but you get an image on the iPhone or Android through the app, and that's very cool. It's just the camera it's just got a couple of. It's got 4 rubber grommets, so the stabilization doesn't exist. So it's fine for stills, but it's no good for video. So then I got one with the Zen Muse for the GoPro, and that's brilliant. But then you want to see the image, you have to buy more stuff. And you want to see telemetry, you've got to get more stuff.
Yeah.
Ends up with like 4 different battery chargers and all sorts of stuff, and cables coming out of it. But it's great because the GoPro image is fantastic at 2.7K. So this new one is with a 3-axis gimbal, the same camera as the Vision, so it's way better. It's a fantastic, neat system, it's just the camera's not good enough. Simple as that. Since they put a better camera in it, that is the best system. I was like 500 meters away, and I was still getting a strong Wi-Fi image coming through.
Don't they sell it without the camera, so you can just add the
Yeah,
GoPro?
they do. The Phantom 2, normal Phantom 2.
But without the gimbal?
You can buy the Phantom 2 with the GoPro gimbal.
Oh, okay.
And they're also doing one for the new Sony action camera. But it's so neat. The new one is so neat. I broke it. I crashed it into a mountain twice.
When did it broke the first time or the second time?
I've crashed it a few. I actually know what I'm doing now. You've got to crash it. Look, I'm not going to buy something, put an Epic on it and fly that, because I'd rather crash a cheaper thing and with a GoPro than anything expensive. And I've got a fantastic collection of crashes because it records it all. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's so much fun. But yeah.
Can you see yourself ever putting a DSLR or more expensive
No,
camera on one of those?
No, it's the whole concept is ridiculous for me. You hire a professional who knows what they're doing, and it's their camera, their insurance, their quad, multi-quad, whatever it is, and that's so much more. It's like, you know, Steadicam. I'm not going to use Steadicam myself. I'll be a Steadicam guy.
I bought the first Phantom, and my only flight so far was in the office. I crashed Sebastian's frame. It just fell over, and I I landed, and that was it.
Inside.
Indoors.
Indoors.
The whole point is it's got the GPS. When you wait for the lock, it takes off and it just sits there.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
It didn't do that.
No, because you're inside.
I know. Yeah, that's when I stopped.
You should have taken it outside.
Anyway, I'm not allowed to do it anymore because in Austria they declared all these things illegal without a special permission. So
Really?
I need to get a permission for each flying thing now. So which doesn't make sense. I just hire someone. And there's like only a handful of people who got the permission so far. So.
It's quite easy in England. It's a 2-day course to get certified.
Yeah.
It's worth doing for safety reasons, to be honest with you. Joking aside, it's worth doing just so you know everything. And the most important thing is get indemnity insurance too. So you're covered if something happens. And there's actually a collective, I can't remember the website name, I have to find it. And you don't have to pay much, like £25 for 6 months, and it gives you multi-million-pound public indemnity. It's just group thing. You've got to have that because they're everywhere. They're going to be everywhere soon, and all it's going to take is that one big thing that's going to. I mean, there was something yesterday in Australia where an Octo crashed into a triathlete or something. It's funny. The pilot saying he must have been hacked because he never crashes it. Who's going to hack? It's ridiculous.
But that's quite horrid videos, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's that one in New York was terrifying, wasn't it? Where the guy took off from his balcony and then just repeatedly banged into that building.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not a good place to do
that. That's not a place to fly.
No.
Yeah. Did you see that one video where the drone flew into a wedding couple, where they wanted to do a cool shot and it was supposed to lift off just in front of them? It just crashed into the couple.
The thing is, they are
very dynamic.
It's fantastic. I've got an action film coming up that I'm shooting, and we've got a helicopter, and the director wants to do these helicopter shots, blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, we're using it for the character to be in it, and we should fly it. We should bring in an octocopter and fly the Epic on it. And because what's so good about it, you can't do with a helicopter, is you start off, you can do a top down, really high up, and then you come down, and then you can right down to ground level and follow the actors running. You can't do that in any other way. That sort of cinematic movement is unique. And I actually was doing those sort of shots yesterday, playing around at Red Rock Canyon, going up high and trying to replicate them myself, and I'm not good, but I was able to get it, that sort of thing. I wouldn't trust myself with anything expensive, as I said, but it's something fun.
So is camera movement one of the trends of NAB 2014? Is there any trend that we can make out? Like last year it was the Movi, which was new. Now we have all the copycats, I guess.
Yeah.
We saw them last year at IBC in Amsterdam, but in America it's the first time that you see all the copies here.
There's a lot now, isn't there? The DJI have got their own one, and then there's they are everywhere.
Everybody has.
They passed me. They
Everybody
passed
has.
me there. I can't remember. It's called Shogun, or something like that. And they had the Epic on it.
Oh yeah.
And oh my god! They gave it to me and went, "Can you take it off me?" It's so heavy.
Yeah.
So heavy.
So is there
doesn't Free Fly, the Movi makers, don't they have the vehicle one as well? It's like a Movi on a little RC control.
Really? I didn't see that.
So definitely movement,
Yeah.
whether it's air, land. I didn't see any sea.
Movement's
any
great for
ocean.
No, I don't
ocean
think so.
camera movement.
The movements are great for when you need it.
Yeah.
There's a time for moving the camera, and there's a time for just not. You just have to look at. I mean, Wes Anderson's one of my favourite filmmakers. He has movement, and then he has also his movement's always his long dolly shots and that sort of thing. But there's loads of just static shots and things like that. It doesn't need to just move for movement's sake. It should always be driven by something.
Yeah.
That was always the big thing, though, right? With like low budget stuff, that you had no movement, right? Or the movement didn't look great because you were like putting the stuff together yourself for no money. But now, for not that much money, you can get
That's
a
true.
lot of movement.
Yeah, only 5 years ago we didn't even have sliders.
Right,
Right.
I mean, we had to hire
Yeah,
dollars.
exactly.
I had a glide track 6 years ago.
Well, I did have one, but I wasn't happy with it. So.
But there was always nothing worse than a low-budget film that was trying to do high-budget camera moves.
And it looks bad.
And it looks bad.
Right.
So at least now, I guess you can get that look.
And also, I
without
think
much money.
4K helps because even if you don't have a proper stabilization, it's much easier to stabilize stuff in post.
Yeah, but I mean, warp stabilize is good to a point, but
Yeah.
you can always tell.
Yeah.
generally.
You can tell.
I mean, the thing is, with all these things, it's the key thing is use it for the right reasons, not to find ways to use it.
Right.
That's the wrong
Exactly.
way. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
Like doing something like, actually, if we use Mobi, this would be so much easier,
Right,
or
right.
something like that. Rather than we've got Mobi, so how can
Because
we use
we
it?
can.
Let's do a 15-minute one shot.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, actually, I
Yeah.
did that. We did a short
yours was
film. but-
nice. Your what? The bottle, the Christmas.
Oh, that
thing.
one too. Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Well, was that actually one
It
shot? Or
was
did
4
you,
shots or
yeah,
5 shots
You did
actually,
some nice wipes
with
and stuff.
hidden edits.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good.
That's the way to do it.
But yeah, I mean, so movement is one of the trends. The other trend is definitely still 4K. I think 2 years ago they tried to push 3D massively, and it didn't really catch
Right.
on. It was
Thankfully.
dead by last year, I think.
Thankfully, it's, yeah.
So 4K was a new 3D last year, but it's. I think this is gonna stay. What do you think?
Well,
I mean,
every camera that was announced today was 4K.
It's 4K. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Not the little Canons, are the 205s? They're not 4K, are
Just a
they?
new Canon?
but the full frame one. I mean, the
Yeah, they're
Super
like
35 ones.
The
third
replacement,
inch.
or was it
Third
the new
inch.
305
Yeah, the third inch
thingies?
ones,
Yeah. I mean 4K. I mean, you've shot 4K. You know, it is a fantastic acquisition tool. It really is. It's as a finishing tool.
That's where the challenge is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I shot my short on a 5K Epic, and then we went to a Quantel and down res to 2K DPX, and then we were punching in on 2K files, and I said, why can't we go back to the original 5K
Right.
files and do so much more resolution, because the post workflow still isn't there.
It's got better. I mean, I shoot all my personal stuff, all my personal projects in 4K. Whether I end up mastering with 4K or not depends on what it is. If it's a documentary, rarely, because I use that 4K resolution for interviews, and it's a joy.
But
Absolute
personal
joy.
stuff is actually more agile.
It's easier.
Like
you do it
Premiere
yourself.
Pro will come out with 4K, and you can
Yeah.
do it, but some huge post house can't.
Post house is
because
terrible.
they're behind
Yeah,
on that
right.
kind of stuff.
There's one.
Right.
I mean, one of the, my business partner James, he did a big documentary for one of the networks and in HD, and they edited at 15:1 compression.
Wow.
This was the end of last year. 15:1.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's so many horror stories with post houses who are just so behind
Yeah.
the times. That,
I had to deliver
Yeah.
on HD cam
yeah, I mean, just
from an Epic shoot.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
My favourite
Yeah.
is shooting on DV and delivering on Digibeta. You give them the DV10 and say, no, we need Digibeta. And you go back and you put on Digibeta and give it to them. That's much better quality, thank
right. Yeah.
you. Right.
Thank God.
Quality's not good enough on DV,
Right.
put on Digibeta.
Right.
Well, then just data at 4K. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're talking about hundreds or
Yeah.
maybe even thousands of hours of footage, it's
Right.
just not
It just, yeah,
in most of our...
Right. No. Right.
it's fine if you've got shares in Hitachi or G-Tech type stuff, because it's impossible. It's got impossible. I've been shooting with the Convergent Design Odyssey 7Q for a bit, and I was horrified at how much data I was eating up.
uncompressed.
Uncompressed Cinema D&G, and it was I was shooting at 50p 4K, and I got 12 minutes and a half terabyte. So if you go 24p 25p, you get double that. But I worked.
Imagine shooting a whole feature.
Oh, you couldn't. It's
at
certainly,
that.
and it's,
Tough.
well, I think it's for commercials
Yeah.
you could probably get away with it.
Yeah.
For documentaries, it's in no way.
Yep.
Yeah.
I added up how much it would cost to have 5 hours of media, just 5 hours, which is what I would generally have. And all of these cameras, like the F55, the SBS, the SBS Pro Pluses are the same price as the XS half terabytes, 128 gigs. It's crazy. Everything
Wow.
was like $10,000 plus just for 5 hours of media.
So can we see post-production stuff catching on with the cameras by now? I think it's better than last year, but it's still a stretch, right?
The best
I mean,
format I've ever edited, worked with in RAW has been R3Ds.
Yeah, compressed raw.
That's still
Compressed
their-
raw,
that's their-
because it's
still their thing. Is
Yeah, it's
really
still
high
their advantage.
resolution.
You
over
choose how
everybody.
much you want to compress it.
Right.
It
Yeah.
works for you, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's much better.
And it plays back.
We don't need uncompressed. We never needed uncompressed.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, nobody actually uses. I mean, the funny thing is now you have the cheap 4K cameras shooting RAW, and the more expensive ones having a good 4K codec, like the F55 with the XAVC 4K,
Which is good, yeah.
versus the F5, which is now getting more and more features. And I think they announced you can actually upgrade the F5
do you think
to
they're going to let you?
F55.
Do they come and spray your lens mount silver when you do it as well?
Do they swap the
software.
sensor?
It's
just
software. It's all software. Yeah.
So you even get
the ProRes though. I thought it was going to be a hardware upgrade.
If it's the same camera.
It's the same camera. It's basically you're paying for features that
For codecs?
No, it's all the internal recording for 4K. And stuff.
But I think
Joey's right. But the F55 though, F55 though is the global shutter.
No, it's the same.
But what about
the global shutter?
Yes.
So
that's it.
Yes, that's what doesn't have.
So that's the whole different processing.
That's a big difference between.
So how do you upgrade that?
But you're right. I mean, they said for the ProRes upgrade that you will have for the F55 will be a hardware upgrade. Yeah. They need to put in a special processor for it.
But it's the same. They take your camera and just slap it in there. I'm assuming.
No, but it's not. It's literally new hardware board or something.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a brilliant thing because it actually gives people a path if they can't quite afford the 55. Yeah, and I think that's great because honestly, the F5 up to that point right now it makes no sense to me. Because it doesn't have the 4K internal. If you want 4K, you have to shoot the RAW, and then it becomes horrible.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the funny thing. I mean, the cheaper camera shoots RAW 4K, and the more expensive one shoots the codec, which should be like the other way around, because the people who can afford to deal with 4K RAW can afford the more expensive camera.
They don't expect you to shoot RAW. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
They expect you to just shoot. It's there if you want
something
it.
to put on a spec sheet to say you do it.
You can rent it in. You can rent in the R5.
I shot a lot of stuff on the F5, F55 last year, and all of it was full HD or 2K max. I mean, one test music video we shot on the F55 and 4K, but all the other stuff for TV, they just want me to deliver 1080p.
40 minutes for 128 gigs in 4K is actually quite nice, which is what the XAVC is, and it's the most efficient thing I've shot 4K with. It's actually, I don't have to walk around or have like 4 or 5 8 terabyte Thunderbolt drives with me.
How is it to edit?
On the Mac Pro, it's like butter. It's fantastic. On my MacBook Pro, it works. It's fine. It's getting better with the new version of CC. Sorry. So it's doable. It's a 200. What is it for 4K? 400 megabits per second. Is that right? Because 100 for the HD, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think so. Something like that. It's not. It's doable. It's doable.
So today or yesterday, actually, we saw Sony announce the A7s that we mentioned before. We had the presentations today, and the light sensitivity is quite amazing on this camera. So what do you think? I mean, it's almost finally, you have a proper codec in a small. I mean, it's only outputting 4K. You can't record internally, but it's XAVC S, so it's not AVC HD anymore, which the A7R has. So where is this all leading? I mean, they showed us a comparison between A7S and 5D Mark III with low light sensitivity that they shot here in Vegas, which was quite amazing. And to me, it almost looks like you don't really need the big cameras anymore if you have an external recorders with these ones, apart from ergonomics and all that kind of stuff. But it's really amazing what these, even the big manufacturers now realize that they have to release cheap, inexpensive 4K cameras to keep up with the new boys on the block like Blackmagic and AJA.
Right.
Why do you want a big camera though? I mean, it's like I was doing a thing with on Teradek thingy today, and Garrett Brown was sat next to me, and he was saying, "Why do you want a big camera? You want a small camera. It gives you freedom. This is what you want." And he was like, "He's fantastic. I want a camera like this big."
Yeah, I think
there's a right size. I think there's a
size is important.
If there's a right balance, I think, between too big and too small for certain stuff. I mean, not having to rig something up, I think.
But you can always make something bigger. You can't make it smaller.
That's true, but you can always use other cameras if that's a situation where... Yeah. So now we're at a point where you can use multiple cameras on the same project when you need a small one to be small, and when you don't want to rig it up, you can just use that.
I see the appeal of the Amira, something you can just pick up and shoot with, versus on my short we had an Epic. It takes half an hour to build that thing the way you want it, and you got to balance it. And when time is money, that's a concern, and that only happens when you have a smaller camera that needs 300 things attached to it to do what you want.
The interesting thing about though the A7R and the S is that viewfinder. It's so good, and you can shoot like you're shooting stills, but video, and that is. I mean, obviously not if you're shooting 4K. You've got to have the recorder on top of it, but it is small, and it's filming. Certainly for a lot of the docs I shoot, it's filming in places you could not get away.
So
with. I mean,
I wasn't at the presentation. Is it an optical viewfinder?
No,
or it's just really high resolution?
it's their OLED EVF. It's exceptionally
good. Yeah, it's really good.
What's the resolution of it?
I think it's 720p.
Yeah, it just looks, the pixel pitch is so tiny, it looks so good. And it's just really nice. I mean, the thing is, by how the Exxon recorder kills it in a way, for that, if you want to do anything 4K, but, I mean, they can't, the reason they haven't put 4K internally is they'd have to redesign the whole camera because it would need a fan and everything to keep it cool.
Right, and you couldn't just record to regular SD cards either.
You
right?
could, you could.
Could you?
Yeah,
well, if they compress it enough.
Yeah, because if XAVC, if they did a 4K XAVCS for it's maybe 200 megabits
it's
a second.
Processing power.
Yeah, because the 1DC was like 400. I think something like that.
Yeah.
So it's doable, and that's a compact flash, but there's really fast.
But that's for the 1DC. They decided to use a codec which is really not, processing intensive.
No.
That's why it's so big because it's motion JPEG. Right. You end up having twice as much data as on the F55 with the XAVC codec, but only 8-bit instead of 10. So you end up having twice as big files for less quality. Yeah, but at least you're able to record it internally. But because the funny thing is, Sony said that Atomos said that they developed their, what is it called, Shogun?
Yes.
Together with Sony for the A7s.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's not, it doesn't fit the camera. It's just a huge device on a small camera.
7-inch screen, which is lovely, though.
It is lovely, but it's too big for this kind of camera.
Yeah. You want their little one as a 4K recorder, a tiny little thing. That would be great because if you could just plug in, and you have that EVF, but the key thing is that confidence. No, they've got their tiny one they announced
the new
as well, yeah.
It's like a hyperdeck shell, basically, so it's similar.
But you don't have the confidence check with it, so you have to run a monitor through it.
Right.
You just have to hope it's recording it.
So let's move on to Blackmagic. 2 more cameras from Blackmagic.
Or was it 4?
Yeah, well, the Ursa is like multi-camera.
What's it called?
Ursa.
How'd you spell it?
URSA.
Why?
So why is it multiple?
I asked them, they couldn't tell me
why.
why.
Someone posted an answer somewhere, I thought I saw, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's the name of the Kryptonian girl villain in Superman.
Isn't
That's
isn't
Ursula.
Also
no, it's
Bond
Ursa.
girl?
It's Ursa.
Isn't a Bond girl named Ursa?
No, it's Ursula Andress, the actress. But Ursa is the name, the evil woman in Superman 2. General Zod's sidekick. It's before your time. See, look it up. That's his name.
Did they just bring back General Zod in the new one?
They did. Then Superman killed him. Superman's not supposed to. Yeah, Superman's not supposed to kill.
Right.
He broke his neck. Sorry, spoiler. Sorry, should have warned that.
So what about the Ursa? Is it like Ursa? Is it the same as the Blackmagic 4K or in a different form
factor? I think it's
factor?
gonna have the same sensor because they said that the sensor's upgradable when it's 12 stops. So I think they have like the higher end camera with a sensor that maybe isn't caught up to the Alexa or something, but then you can swap it out later when they come out with something better.
Right. So to me, it looks like the red one.
Stu Maschwitz has put out a great tweet today. Perfect. He went, Blackmagic have released a camera that looks like a camera.
Yeah, it is the first time.
It does, except for the fact that you have a laptop screen.
Exactly.
That folds out,
which is huge.
I wonder what it looks like when you have that thing.
The big one isn't a touchscreen. there's 2 other 5-inch screens.
The touchscreen would be cool. You could play like the Walking Dead game, which is great fun if you get bored on shoots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or boring interviews.
Yeah.
They couldn't confirm it to me, but to me it looks like they literally took the screen of the iPad.
They would have got an Android, a cheaper Android panel. Not expensive Retina.
But it is the same exact size.
Because the Retina screen is really color accurate. Yeah. Is it 2K?
It's 1920 by 1200, I think.
Yeah, it's 1920, but
a little bit less than
it's like the Atomos' Shogun because that is a tablet screen, and it's like been waiting.
They
for
can
this for
get it
ages.
cheaper, I guess.
Why do we have these amazing tablet screens, and yet we're suffering with 720? If we're lucky,
I think because they have to buy so many.
Economies of scale.
Yeah, they buy so many of them at once that they can do it cheaper.
It's great now.
I can imagine that being on the side of your camera though.
Well, you should check it out.
No, it's if it's on your shoulder, you can't really shoot with it when it's on your shoulder. But when it's on a tripod, it's really nice.
Focus pullers would love it.
Oh yeah,
it is a very good, very accurate screen. I tried it today, but on the shoulder it wouldn't work.
No. And that's what EVFs are for.
Yeah, you have to use the EVF.
Right.
The
whole point is you've got to be in with that image. As soon as you have separation.
And it's got XLRs and everything, right?
Yes, it does.
That's the big.
Does it have preamps too? Good preamps.
It has XLRs and it has actually audio monitoring on the side.
The big question though: does it let you delete clips, format clips, and does it have meters?
It had meters in the.
It has meters.
Yes, it has meters.
But on the right hand side, so you can't see them as an operator.
That's okay. You got the first AC for that.
Exactly.
That's true.
That's really what they're making it for.
They're designing it for like a real cinema.
Right. Where you have a crew.
Yeah.
Well, you can get a rig with mirrors or something.
So this camera has 3 built-in screens, the big...
Three?
The 10-inch Full HD display, and then 2 800 by 480 screens on, like, one on either side.
I got to look at this. This sounds kind of crazy.
It is.
It's like the 2 Blackmagic Cinema screens on like either side.
Oh, so you got loads of mirrors to check how you're looking.
Exactly.
It's basically for the talent to check how you're looking.
Exactly.
Because it is a great mirror, that screen.
Yeah.
That's interesting. How much do you know the price of it at all?
I think it's 5 or 6,000.
It's 6,000 for the EF Ursa, and it's 6,500 for the PL.
Is it? You have to choose like Canon.
Yep.
Yes, but they're going to sell them separately at some point. That's their idea.
It is removable.
Here's what it is. Yeah, you've got 4. You've got 4 like Allen screws that pull out.
So it's more like
red.
a bit like
red.
A clunkier red or
right. But the difference though is that the sensor and the mount are one. So the back focus is already set. So
the sensor and the mount is one.
One thing. So you replace that whole thing. So
sounds a bit like, you know, as a stills camera, Ricoh, R-I-C-O-H.
Yeah.
Each of the lenses that you could get with it had a different sensor in it, which was kind of weird. Yeah. That sounds bizarre. Different sensors. That sounds expensive.
Yeah. Well, you could buy the EF one, and then when they come out with a better sensor, you get the PL.
Right. Well, I mean, I think probably part of it is probably they didn't want to worry about fixing the back focus and all that stuff.
Sounds an expensive way to do it. The good thing, it sounds upgradable though. It sounds like if they get better sensors, they can
Well, I think they're saying it might be like 1,500 for a new block, sensor block. But
didn't Red say that in the beginning of the Red one? I mean, the whole selling point was that you have a swappable sensor, and I mean, to be fair, it is possible to swap it, but it's very expensive, and you have to send it in, and it's literally you pay almost like half of the new camera.
Yeah, the brains themselves were supposed to be really cheap, just to be.
And then it never materialized.
No. I think the reality is they realised they could make it better if they did it. I would guess it's better to do it properly than do it half-assed. Which is like, and I think they decided that. They realised it was a better solution to do it properly.
Because it's not only the sensor that ages, it's all the electronics and everything that needs upgrading at some point, at least. And you better
I mean, there's CPUs in there, just like the Mac Pro, and everything comes out so much faster.
Not fast enough to process.
Yeah, because you know, you'll have a sensor like the Blackmagic, which is, what is it, 400 native sensor, the 4K?
It's around there,
so you'll have, and it can't go past that. And yet you'll have something like the Sony A7s, which I asked them, they couldn't tell me, but they thought it was 100. I don't think it is 100. But it's not
base ISO.
Base ISO.
Yeah, so those sensors are weird. So it's like with the Red sensor is like a native like 250 ISO.
Yeah.
The Dragon is like a native 250. But just because it's so clean, you can push it that
That's
far.
the key thing. You can't push a Blackmagic past its native, the 4K. And yet you can take a camera like the A7s and you can push it, you know, 10 stops past its native. And it shows you that it's a lot of most of it is actually the processing as well.
And Sony's been doing it forever. So
yeah, they got a little bit of a head start.
I didn't get a straight answer from Sony when I asked about the native sensitivity of the A7s because they couldn't tell me. He told me
I asked the same question. They couldn't. Yeah.
He said it's as clean at 100,000 ISO as it is at 100.
No, they
something
said
like
that. I kind of got the same answer because I asked them because I wanted to know that. They said I think it was like 1 or 2 stops below that, 25,000 or something.
That's not bad though.
I mean, unless you take it the other way around, the negative way, it's really bloody noisy at 25,000, and it's just as noisy at 100. It probably isn't that, but it's like it's a document.
It looks pretty clean.
In that sort of, it's all right. It's if you absolutely have to get the shot.
Yep.
Stills guys are going to like it. Sports guys are going to like it. Not that they're that high, but they'll be able to shoot very high shutter speed. With not that much light, so they'll be able to capture those moments which normally they can't.
That's huge, yeah.
But back to Blackmagic, there's one more camera. They have the studio
camera. Yeah.
Wasn't the old one called Studio?
That was the production camera.
Production, okay, Studio. Yeah. So the Studio camera looks like an iPad with a lens attached.
Yeah. What's the hashtag's going to be for it? I get so confused because they have the BMCC, the BMPC, the BMPPC.
Yeah, I don't.
Ursa.
The BM Blackmagic
Ursa.
U4. I don't know.
I lost track of the pocket camera.
No, the Ursa. So the Ursa is sort of like 4 cameras.
BMD Ursa. That's easy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Ursa has the EF mount, PL mount. They're coming out with a B4 mount with. I think it's going to be a different sensor though.
Sounds schizophrenic.
So they're saying, and then they have a different thing which is an HDMI recorder. That's the size of that thing. So you can stick a camera on it, so like you could record
HDMI.
out of like a file. Yeah.
Why HDMI?
I don't know. Because so you can stick like a 5D. They've shown pictures of it where you can, and actually they have it at their booth. It's like you could put a 5D like on the front of it, and that's your camera.
I gotta look at it.
So the studio camera is only SDI out. It doesn't record internally. It has a 1-inch sensor. I think it would be perfect for the setup we're running here, because we have a lot of Blackmagic hardware in use here, and are going through SDI into a computer for a live edit. So that would be a good application, I guess, and that's what it's meant for.
Right.
So it's a typical studio thing.
Yeah. So I think I think the HD one is using their pocket sensor, and the 4K is the 1-inch.
And it's only $2,000.
Yeah, it's $2,000 for the HD one and $3,000 for the 4K.
Yeah.
The 4K though I think is not as ready.
4K at 1-inch must be really bad in low light.
So 1-inch 4K.
That's only in a studio, right?
It's like
in a studio. Who's really? I mean,
true. Yeah.
You're going to be lighting at 100 ISO, yeah.
Right. So you're going to be shooting HD in a studio at least for the foreseeable future.
Right.
And it's like the what's it called? You mentioned it before, the AX300 or
AX100.
100 from Sony is
Sony handy camera.
It's a nice 4K camera with a very small sensor, which is good in daylight, but as soon as it gets dark, it's really noisy, of course.
Blackmagic is going to sell 1 billion of those iPad cameras. Though.
I think this one could be really popular in studio setups.
It will be absolutely popular. Small productions and public access and all those places that they want something that's done. They don't have to do anything.
And it ties in very neatly with all their hardware products.
All their stuff.
Yeah, but you must have seen some of the stuff as being, there's a lot of irate people right now online. Now, these irate people, the people who bought the previous cameras, so they're like, why you brought out more cameras when you haven't fixed the ones we've bought? And it's understand. I own 2. I've got the pocket camera and the 4K, and I want them to be, especially my 4K. I'm like, come on, guys, what is all these strange things going on with my image? I want that fixed because it's it's a little camera for the money.
It's like maybe the hardware manufacturers and the hardware designers are ahead of the software engineers.
And it's the same issue as we had last year. They announced the pocket camera and the 4K before most people had got the cinema camera. And now most people still don't have the 4K, and they've announced these new ones, and it's confusing. It's also they're competing with themselves.
Right, but it's all disruptive and incredible, and they just haven't gotten the. But a lot of camera manufacturers have run into.
It's coming out in July, though. It's coming out in July.
Question mark.
That's what it says, July.
It's coming out in July.
Well, which July? Did they say the year?
Didn't say the year. No. Yeah.
But what are we still missing from all the current Blackmagic cameras? I mean, we still can't format the cards, right?
Basic
formatting the card is I think one of the biggest thing that you need formatting. It's really so hard to go out and shoot something, and then you can't format the card.
Right.
You just have to bring tons of cards, which is not a good way to work.
So the Ursa I saw doesn't use SSDs, right? Is it?
Oh yeah, what is it?
The Ursa uses CFast.
Yeah, that's cool.
2.0.
So it's compact flash.
So it's the same as the Amira.
Okay, but they're expensive right now. Yeah,
right.
It's just one company who makes them.
Right. So that's what you lose with the new camera is that instead of getting the cheap SSDs, which are dirt cheap, now the cards are a little more expensive.
It's like the thing you want for the Odyssey 7Q is you want off-the-shelf SSDs.
But you don't use off the shelf, right?
You have to use their ones, and they're expensive. And it subsidizes the cost of their. It actually keeps their recorder price down.
And Red found that problem too when they let you originally with a Red 1 use CF cards, and everybody had reliability problems, so they went to their super expensive proprietary kinds, and then they're expensive, but at least they work.
Right.
And it's interesting, we're talking about cameras, we haven't really even, did Red come out with anything?
They did, yeah.
Well, they announced an Allen tool. I saw that.
What?
I went there, an Allen key. I asked them what's new.
And because they have so many strange bolt sizes all on all their stuff, I actually think that's the most useful thing they've announced. Yeah. Is the multi-tool.
We literally went there.
Yeah, a multi-tool with all their stuff on it. And actually you can store extra.
Is it cross-compatible with other companies?
I'm sure it is, yeah.
Fantastic.
And there's actually like tapped holes. There's like '20.
We were doing about a news post about this morning because I went there and asked what's new, and the first thing this guy said is we have this new Allen key.
Yeah.
It's good they got an electric screwdriver coming out soon.
Yeah. So they're selling
which is going to be
Scarlet
upgradable.
Dragon. They're selling a Scarlet Dragon.
You just buy it.
A Scarlet Dragon?
Yes.
Yeah.
So body only,
it's
with nothing.
14 and a half,
it's 14,
right?
Yeah, 14,500.
But if you originally bought a Scarlet for 10 and the upgrade price is 9.
Right. But you still
you had a Scarlet, right?
I have a Scarlet.
You still have it?
I have
How much is Scarlet worth as it right now, the original one?
Sell
it on second hand.
7,500.
Scarlet stuff.
Second hand,
well, so
really?
That's the thing about Red stuff. Red stuff keeps its value.
Right.
It really does.
Have you shot a lot with the Scarlett?
I haven't. I sub-rented it a lot.
Yeah.
So it paid itself off.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to use it. On my short, we were going to use it, and then a friend's Epic, the DP's friend's Epic became available.
It's a good problem.
So my Scarlett just sat in the corner, unloved.
Not even a little B camera.
Not even. No, we didn't have the personnel.
But how rental prices for red stuff are quite? It's not so good, are they? I mean,
no.
A lot of people renting out red.
I just had it at the beginning. Yeah. At the beginning, it went out a lot because not a lot of people had it, and now it sort of trickles out, and I just sit back not knowing what to do with it. So it keeps getting a little bit, But no, I think it's a really hard thing to do as a red owner. Like, do you upgrade? Do you upgrade halfway? Do you upgrade all the way?
Yeah.
Do you sell it and cut your losses? Right. There are still things that they do that nobody else does, namely compress RAW.
Right. It's the best. It's the best RAW by far.
The biggest thing that I want to see is the new color science because they had a new camera.
So that's what they announced is the Dragon Color,
as well as the Allen key set.
Yeah, right.
Is it like that multi-tool you get at Walgreens?
Yeah,
I like that. Mr. Seven Hands. So I love that.
Is the video they released shot on Dragon Color?
No, that video has nothing to do with their Dragon cameras.
That's just the Scarlett.
Yeah, Scarlett and Epics. But so the thing that they actually really announced is a 4K module that sends out 4K out of 3G SDI. Ports, and it sits on the back of the camera.
So you can skip that awful R3D and record it uncompressed cinema PNG.
Right, but so now it's like, so now you can actually monitor in 4K if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That actually makes sense.
So that's.
But what monitor are you really going to? I mean, you need focus aids for 4K.
Yeah, no.
You're going to be using big those. It's for directors, really, isn't it?
No, but that was one of the. But that was one of the biggest things is that. You could only do HD out of this, out of these cameras that all they care about is resolution. Right. So it's like.
So. They announced the color science.
They announced
because it was announced years ago.
Well, no, it's actually coming out like soon. I believe the firmware update. No, the firmware update's like today or tomorrow, or they were trying to post it. I think.
But they didn't have a demo of this new thing.
I didn't actually see it yet.
So what about we have AJA with a camera now? So another post-production company like Blackmagic coming up with a camera. You see it?
Yep.
How is it?
It's nice. It's pretty light. I mean, it's like probably a quarter of the weight of the
It reminded me of
camera.
the Atom camera. Like
yes. Like the Iconoscope. Similar
Iconoscope,
yeah.
So it has 4K. A built-in shoulder mount 4K.
Yes, 4K.
But like the complete opposite from the Blackmagic camera with a really tiny screen. Like it's just to check the image, I guess. Like to are you recording something?
Yeah, it's not for you need some sort of monitor viewfinder. Or
it will be $9,000, I think.
It's $9,000 with the body only, and I think they give you
Iconoscope.
They give you the handle.
Yeah.
They give you the handle.
It looks like it as well.
Super 35.
Same sensor.
It's much better build quality.
Probably the same sensor as Blackmagic because it's the same size.
And they're competitors, right? Because they're similar sizes.
Yeah, they are competitors.
I mean, they don't have their own sensor development, so they must source it somewhere.
Right.
It's very likely they have the same sensor.
I mean, that's not necessarily. It doesn't have to be from Blackmagic. Look, the Nikon D800 is a Sony sensor, so these are.
No, so I think both of them get their sensor from the same
radio shack
place.
So is AJ just not happy the fact that they announced their brand new camera in Blackmagic? It has a similar one at a lower price point.
Those two companies, I mean, they really are in their own world with a lot of their stuff. So when they develop stuff, they get tunnel vision. They kind of don't really see what a lot of other people are doing.
But I mean, the thing is with Blackmagic, for example, that the feedback they're getting from everybody is very there. It's there if they want to listen to it.
Right.
And that's what's so surprising when the 4K did come out, that it was the cinema camera with a 4K sensor.
Right.
And it didn't change anything. Listen to anything. Is it so the frame rates?
That's the new one. It's the ergonomics.
They've done it now.
So the new cameras.
You just wish they'd just not bothered with the 4K, the production camera. You almost say just wait. It's just like just stop releasing. Just do some R&D. And make it great.
But they want to make a splash every year. Right?
Every year you got to get that splash.
But it makes you want to stop.
Websites cover it and stuff.
I think the biggest thing with Blackmagic is what else can we do and how cheaply can we do it? That's really what it is.
How can we disrupt
format? Yeah.
And my key thing is not the format I can get away with. I can have a MacBook Air or something with me that can format stuff. It's the amount of time remaining on your card is the key thing that screws me every time.
Yeah.
I can't have that.
You can't have that cut in the middle of an interview because you had no idea.
I guess if you knew time code wise how much time you could kind of do it.
You just have to have you have a timer. You have your iPhone out. You have a timer.
So what do you do now if you're looking to buy a camera. There's just so many, and they're so good.
Don't do it.
And
stick with what you got.
Whatever you come out with is going to be out of date a year from now, right?
The funny thing is, I think a lot of the new ones are like of the newcomers are really bad in low light, and that kills most cameras for me.
Like
Blackmagic,
way.
AJA. Yeah, it's very strange.
But some of them are upgradable at least. So
I wonder. I'm really looking forward to testing the new Panasonic Varicam because they haven't had a super 35mm camera in a very long time. I think the last one that came close was the AF101.
Yeah, but they never had Super 35. They
true.
Micro Four Thirds.
I mean, they announced it last year, and this year, obviously, it's. I mean, they still have it in a box or something. You can't. Yeah, well, you can use it, but you can't use any of the buttons. You can't change any settings.
Yeah.
What codec is it? Because DVC Pro is always their thing.
Yeah.
Is there a proprietary?
Yes, they have their own codec.
Well, codecs were always the biggest strength of Panasonic, I think. I mean, their codecs are amazing. The Ultra, AVC Ultra is really good. Right. But they haven't had a camera that matched it. So now it's, let's see how the image is.
And that was tough because, the DVX was the the beloved camera that
I still have
this
mine.
whole thing in a lot of ways. Yeah,
it's still worth money.
It's a great camera. And then
I will never sell it. This is treasure.
Is it the B or the original?
I have the A.
I have the A.
Yeah.
The B was nicer.
Yeah.
But so then they have ProRes also on the Varicam, don't they?
That's the key thing. That's the codec they're going for now. ProRes makes sense.
I think Panasonic. I mean, Panasonic has one advantage over Canon. Like Sony, they provide solutions, like the whole thing, and Sony is very much into their own solution thing. I mean, they're opening up a little bit more, and Panasonic was always more open about other standards. So that's nice to see.
Is it something to worry about that everybody's using ProRes? Like, isn't it something that Apple owns, and one day they could be less interested in it?
Apple I think doesn't charge license fees for it.
You have to go through a stringent thing before that. What Convergent Design problem had, well, I couldn't release it for ages, is they have to approve it.
Same with Thunderbolt ports. Yeah.
I always felt strange that using ProRes though on either a Windows computer or to edit in an Adobe product, or just like it seems like it's this Apple's codec, and everybody's kind of.
The problem is it's not a modern codec anymore. They haven't they haven't done any development on that for years.
It's
now.
Not 64-bit.
So it's not up to what it should be. It could be the same quality at a smaller data rate. But let's see where it all leads. So should we wrap this up? What do you expect from NAB? Anything additional you haven't seen yet? Or
I'm sure it's all been on their site. Just go to NoFilmSchool.com and it's all there. Since we've been talking, they've had 84 new posts.
This being one of them.
No, seriously, I mean, it is literally.
We're posting right now. We're posting right now.
It's mine. It's if I want to go to World News, I go to the BBC, whatever. And if I want to go to what's going on in cameras and stuff, I go to your site because it's always going to be covered.
The BBC.
Great work.
Yeah, it's great. And this morning when I just went there and see what's going on. It's much easier. You go on Twitter, you go on Facebook and see all these rumors. I'll just go to your site and see.
Our site, we actually crashed before we even got to the press room.
Yeah, when I posted the Blackmagic.
You posted the Blackmagic thing, and I'm walking up to NAB, and I go, our site's already down.
Yeah, right.
We haven't even got.
It's great things happen though, isn't it?
Right.
So yeah, you probably have seen this video on NoFilmSchool.
Oh, Cinema5D as well. Sorry, Cinema5D is also very good. Forgot.
That's okay.
No,
NoFilmSchool is
Yeah, I don't do that. I'm terrible with the news. I'm just terrible.
Don't chase the news.
I don't do the news. I can't be doing it. It's too much work.
Someone's always fast.
It's a lot of work and no sleep.
You need to have somebody. I mean, I was writing my post, which covered a lot of stuff until 2 in the morning.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't cover any of the stuff hadn't been announced like the Blackmagic. I just said, if Blackmagic bring out another camera, then I'll be really annoyed.
We were playing around with all the doodads of trying to get a production video camera working when you're dealing with DSLRs. And it's always the same problem. So that to me is the next thing. It's like you can't just have cameras that look great on a spec sheet and are very small, but you have to actually be able to plug in a microphone.
Right. Yep. Well, I think that's the biggest thing about the new stuff that's been
specs.
Yeah.
It's like people read specs, and I get asked, "What do you think about this camera?" Like, and I've just been a spec sheet come out, and nothing. I don't care. I don't know because you can't base anything on it. For me, the key thing was the Canon C300. When that was announced, it was like meh.
Everybody was meh, and it's
then you've got to use it, and it was
great.
Get
it at house
I never had a camera that got me so many jobs, and it's out there all the time.
Yeah.
When I don't use it, somebody else rents it from me. It's everywhere.
And then you see the other cameras which have these really, oh my god, look, does this. Oh, it's got global shutter, and then you use it, and like, oh, I can't use it.
Yeah.
can't use it.
Usability.
It's the key thing is a camera which doesn't get in the way of.
That's
I don't want to
thing.
be on a shoot where I'm thinking about the camera. Is it okay? And this is going to be a problem. I just want to carry. It just works.
This is why people love Alexa.
It's a beast.
Yeah.
It's a beast.
Right.
It's the most reliable thing out there.
I think that's a nice conclusion, guys. So, yeah, have fun over the next few days at NAB, and we'll see each other on the show floor, I guess.
Thanks for having us.
Or later for a drink.
Or later for a drink, yeah. So see you tomorrow for the next show, and with just another word of thank you to our sponsors, B&H, who supplied all the equipment we use here, Zeiss, Vitek Videocom, and Tools on Air. Thank you, and see you next time.